Yeah, we'll call this meeting to order. It is the Monday, October 6th, 2025, Kingsburg Finance Committee regular meeting. I will start out with public comment. Seeing none, we'll move to regular business, which is approve the minutes from the 2020 August 25th regular meeting submitted by the city clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. We'll move on to item 2, the year-end budget amendment considerations presentation by member Alma Collado.
Hi, this item tonight is the end of the year budget amendment for fiscal year 24-25. As part of our review, at the end of the fiscal year, we examine line items that require adjustments by the city council. There are 92 amendments attached, 46 for expenditures and 46 for revenues. And that was not planned. Mainly what we have, we can go over the adjustments if you guys want. I have mainly, we start with expenditures and we wait for the end of the fiscal year to reflect to actual expenditures. And the majority of the expenses are, we can glance to few like business park signs.
No, you're good. If you want, just pull the mic a little bit closer to you so they can hear it. And then the ones that you think are relevant, as we go through them, can you just tell us what numbers those are so we can just count them all?
So for number 3, we have new. We can glance to a few of the amendments, like number 3 from the expenditures is new projects. We had the new business park sign, so we need to adjust the budget because we did not include this project to be finalized during the fiscal year. And we have also for the number 4, transferring funds, and throughout the budget we spent for the fire department. We did a budget adjustment instead of budgeting ahead because we didn't know if we were going to get the fire engine in the fiscal year. Number 5, capital outlay is just to reflect expenses that we did not anticipate for the 4th of July celebration. And throughout the departments, we have some salaries and benefits that we usually update at the end of the fiscal year to reflect to actuals. Number 15, we had the remodel for the senior center kitchen. And we had the grants for Dog Park and Heritage Clean California grant. We need to budget for revenue and also expenses. We also had an increase in the like item 23, overtime for out of the county response for the strike team. And just to reflect on some areas, no expenses. For example, impact fees, item number 27 through 32. And we have other items that have, like increases in the IGT expense that also affects the revenue. We spend more on ambulance IGT, and we expect an increase in revenue. And some of the revenue, we are increasing it to reflect actuals, which is a very positive that we usually budget very conservative. And we had an increase on taxes and also planning fees throughout the department. And mention LTF, Article 8, we end up receiving more than anticipated, and some of the impact fees through development services that we end up receiving more, and of course, more revenue on the strike team, and pretty much those are the budget adjustments that I have listed in this report. Do you guys have any questions on any?
I don't have any questions. I can add a little bit of context, at least to the impact fees on the expenditure side. So Alma talked a little bit about.
Can you tell me which number you're referencing?
Yeah. So their number 30 in the expenditure side. So yeah, I think it was there's a 27 through 32. It's just based upon the timing. So most of those were budgeted in last year's budget because we were doing the road project that's extending to the property north of the business park. That work we thought would get done, or we did this a year ago in fiscal year 25. The majority of it got done this July, so it got pushed to fiscal year 26. So that's why you see those numbers all going to zero, but the actual work just getting done in a different fiscal year. Alma mentioned a little bit about the fire engine. We weren't sure if we were going to get the fire engine actually delivered in fiscal year 25 or, but we actually had to make payment in fiscal year 25, even though we just obviously did the push in and for everything that they did once it got here. So some of that was just based upon timing of when we would receive that. Talked a little bit about the revenues. Most of them are positive in terms of being higher than anticipated. A lot of those are related to, not outside of sales tax, the planning fees, and the other things. Building permits were higher than budget. I mean, obviously all that is just reflective of both commercial and residential activity, both new houses and then also folks doing stuff at their own houses. But so sort of they're all kind of connected because a lot of the fees that we collect through the building permit fee or on like the technology fee and other things are all they're all part of each building permit. Yeah. So there are other specific items that there are questions on. I think those are the ones that had the main difference.
Any other committee discussion on that?
For the numbers 44 and 45, Helpers UAL Fund, there's proposed changes. Are we not? I guess I'm just asking why we have those changes.
Yeah, so we have the UA. I'm assuming you're talking about the expenditure. So we have the UAL fund that's set up, and when we put together the budget in the year, we take a look at those changes specifically in the general fund and see if we need to move money from the UAL fund to cover those costs. So because some of our revenues came in higher, we decided not to make that move from the other fund because essentially we're covering those costs. We're anticipating having a surplus at the end of the year. So what would happen is if you still move those funds in, we'd have a surplus in the general fund, and our policy is to then move the funds back, right? So it just became sort of, we thought we would need those funds when we budgeted at the beginning of the year, a year plus ago, and when we take a look at the end, if we don't, we keep them in there so that we can use them for an additional payment or in years going forward. So that's the reason.
Thank you.
Other questions? Open up to the public, but there's no one here. So this is an action item, right?
Yes.
To
review the proposed amendments and recommend necessary amendments to City Council.
Okay. We'll entertain motions for the recommendation to council.
Second.
Favor? Okay, move on to item 3, developer impact fee nexus study. Proposal discussion, presentation by member Alex Henderson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the California Government Code Section 66001 requires local agencies to conduct nexus studies for developer impact fees, which establishes a reasonable relationship or nexus between the fee's purpose and the impact of development. The studies ensure fees are used to fund public capital facilities and improvements necessitated by new development and must be periodically updated to reflect current needs and conditions. The fees are a condition of each project's approval, and agencies must demonstrate how the fee is used to fund specific public improvements. In 2021, the California legislature passed Assembly Bill 602, and it was signed into law by the governor, which has created new requirements for development impact fees, which includes different reporting requirements. But for our purposes this evening, it also made a change to how often Nexus studies have to be updated, which is every 8 years, beginning in January 1, 2022. The City Council last approved an updated Nexus study for Kingsburg in 2016. And so given the new state mandates and the amount of time that has elapsed since the last update, Council authorized a budget allocation to complete a new Nexus study as part of the fiscal year 26 budget. As such, staff created and released a request for proposal on August 1, 2025, with responses due by August 22nd, 2025. And we received 2 qualified responses to that RFP. Both of the firms we have worked with in the past and are confident that both are capable of meeting the need. The scope of work outlined in the RFP, just to summarize them, DTA is the same company that performed our last Nexus study, updated justification study in 2016. We also work with them annually because they administer our community facilities districts and fee collection and work directly with us in both Fresno and Tulare County on that. And then Wildan Financial Services, we also work with because they administer our landscape and lighting districts. Both firms are proposing approximately 6 months to complete the update, and staff intends to incorporate any proposed fee changes with the fiscal year 27 budget development, meaning any new impact fees would be considered by council at that time to take effect on July 1, 2026. As dictated by state law, any existing projects that have received development entitlements would be grandfathered and would pay our current rates. And while staff is confident that either firm can successfully complete the justification study, we are recommending DTA given their proposed cost for services. DTA had a not to exceed price of $49,210, and Wildan had a price of $87,300. So that concludes my report. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that you may have, and we are recommending that the Finance Committee make a recommendation to Council to approve an agreement with DTA to complete our development impact fee and Nexus study update.
Do you see any reason why we wouldn't just go with the one that costs half price?
Budget is 50,000.
Yeah.
And that will stay within budget.
Yeah. No, I think either of the firms will, we've worked with them, so we have experience with them, and they do this type of work all over the state. And so I think picking the one that's less expensive is the financially responsible thing to do, and we'll still get what we're looking for out of it.
No public, so that's closed. This is an action item for recommendation for Finance Committee to make a recommendation to Council to approve an agreement with DTA to complete a development impact fee update and Nexus study. Entertain motions.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Other business, we have none. Do you guys have anything else? Okay. If not, we will adjourn the regular meeting.